Hello friends and welcome to first tutorial of object-oriented programming in Python. So first of all, why do we use object-oriented programming? The answer to that is it provides us a modular structure, and due to that it is easy to handle and more presentable. So let's get started with object-oriented programming in Python. So the first thing to remember is that in the object-oriented programming, variables are known as instances and functions are known as methods. So now let's create our first class, and it is as simple as typing class and after that writing its name. Let it be students, and after the name of the students we have to write or add a colon. Now that our class is created, we can add different methods which we call functions in simple programming language. So we can add different methods, and the methods are created the same way as we have created the functions in simple programming language. So after defining def, we have to write the name. Let it be jump, and you guys can see the self argument is automatically assigned to the method. I will tell you about it later. So in the function or method, you have to print jump, and this is our class. This is a basic class, nothing complex. So after the class is created, we have to add some objects in the class. Let's say child1 equals students and empty parentheses. Now by typing it, what we have done is we have made child1 an object of students class that we have just created above. Now here if I write print and in the empty parentheses I type child1 and run the code, you will see that we have students object. That means it is the object of students class that we have just created. So now let's remove this line and have a look at the jump method we have created. So if we call it simply as we used to call it in simple programming language, you guys can see we get an error. So the way you call a class method is by typing the name of the class dot the method, and if I now run the code, you guys can see we get an error. So if I read it, it says jump missing one required positional argument self. So we have to add the name of the object that we have created, which is child1. Now if I run the code, you will see it works perfectly. Now let's remove this method and I will show you another method which is init method. So def init, and the specialty of this method is that it runs itself. We don't have to call it outside the class. It runs itself as the object is created. So let's move this line students.jump child1, and now let's add some arguments in our init method, which will be name, age, and let's say marks. Now in this method I will type self.name equals name. Let's copy that and I will paste it 3 times as we have 3 arguments, and replace the name with the respective arguments. So what we have done here is self.name equals name. That means self, which is the object itself, and object's name is name, object's age is age, and object's marks are marks. Now we can assign specific values for specific objects for the arguments that we have created. So after the self, first argument is name, which is Mike, and his age is 17 and he got, let's say, 98 marks. So if I run the code, you will see nothing happens. So for that we have to add another statement, which is print statement, and it will be print name, age and marks. Now if I run the code, you will see we get the name, age and marks according to the order that we have set. So as we have set this child1 object, the init method runs and give us the result, which is the name, age and marks. Let's create another object which will be child2, and I will change the values of these arguments. Let's say its name will be Bob and his age will be 16 and he scored, let's say, 95. If I run the code now, you will see the values have changed, but we have to change the name of the object too. So we get Mike and Bob. You may have noticed that we have written only one print statement in our code, then why we have got 2 lines of result? It is because after the object is created, the init method runs and give us the result. As we have created 2 objects, the init method runs 2 times and give us the result of 2 lines. So as a start, as I have said that object oriented programming is manageable and presentable. You guys can see the class that we have created can be just minimized into 1 line. So that's it for today guys. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you again in the next video.